And the aftermath of Hurricane Milton is still impacting residents along the East Coast. NTD's Jack Bradley is in Daytona Beach, where the storm passed over into the Atlantic, leaving behind a destructive trail. Jack, what are the residents who are hunkered down saying to you?
Well, they're saying that it was a very heavy storm. Now, like you said, this was the last place that the storm passed through before making its way into the Atlantic Ocean. And when storms normally come over, hurricanes, they normally downgrade to tropical storms by the time they end on land. But here it maintained its hurricane status as it went off into the Atlantic. And as you can see, the roads are flooded here, even in Daytona. We had a massive flooding in other areas, residential areas, as well as down power lines and heavy winds reaching up to 70 miles per hour. Now it's calmed down quite a bit, but we've even heard reports of alligators swimming in the water here. Now, take a look at what residents have said to me earlier today.
It was definitely worse than we expected.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is exactly opposite of what he said.
The transformer blew about 9:30 over there, flooding. The river is up to our house.
It was really windy, loud, windy, rainy, scary.
Oh, it was fun. Some trees went down around the neighborhood. I went around and moved them out of the road so people could get through.
What you find are dead snakes, live snakes, fire ants.
Those are ants? Oh my gosh.
Fire ants. Look at them. Yeah, they were tearing me up.
Fallen power lines, snapped trees, unprecedented flooding, neighborhoods in disarray. Hurricane Milton made landfall as a Category 3 storm on Wednesday on the west coast of Florida. It was in Siesta Key, which is next to Sarasota, when it made landfall. Milton moved through Orlando and out of Daytona Beach as a hurricane. After leaving a trail of destruction across Florida, Milton is no longer a hurricane. At least 12 people are confirmed dead, in part due to over a dozen tornadoes. Nearly 100,000 residents taking cover across the state. The storm also tore the roof off of Tropicana Field's baseball stadium. The Tampa Bay Rays stadium's being used as a base camp for debris cleanup and first responders during Storm Milton.
We know life-saving measures did make a difference.
President Biden said he pre-deployed over 1,000 members of the Coast Guard to assist in recovery efforts. Officials are still warning individuals to beware of fallen power lines, which can electrify floodwaters. This is the 10th major hurricane to make landfall in 8 years. Now, earlier, search and rescue teams were hunkering down and not going out to do first responding missions. Now, this entire day, they've been out doing search and rescue and recovery efforts as well, getting those power lines back up. But still, authorities are asking individuals, residents here, to stay off the roads and listen to local authorities while they clear the roads and get those fallen power lines off the streets. Steve?
NTD's Jack Bradley, thank you for that update live from Daytona, Florida. And now we have Fort Myers Mayor Kevin Anderson to tell us his assessment of the storm damage. Fort Myers Mayor Kevin Anderson, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Mayor, Hurricane Milton barreling through your area right there in Fort Myers. We've seen some of the footage and the damage from the surge flooding from Hurricane Milton. Give us a sense of what it was like during the storm last night and what you're seeing and hearing on the ground there now.
So let me start by saying one of the downtown business owners I ran into this morning, he said the word of the day is thankful. They are thankful it was not worse, that it didn't live up to the potential it was promoted to have. So we did, we had 2 tornadoes touch down and we had some damage. Some homes were damaged in a business, and we had flooding. Unfortunately, one of our historic neighborhoods for the 3rd storm in a row has taken on water. Downtown flooded. Most of the businesses didn't take on a lot of water because, unlike Ian and Elaine, they actually took precautionary measures. They sandbagged, they taped doors, they did everything they could to keep the water out.
To your point, Mayor, thankful indeed. You were expecting the worst. How would you say some of these preparation and mitigation efforts, did they help to reduce some of the damage that you expected?
Oh, absolutely. During Helena, there was one restaurant that took in well over a foot of water, but yet today they only took in about 6 inches. So it did help. While it didn't totally block the water, it did minimize the damage.
Now, what are you hearing from your first responders there and from other, folks and mayors in the path of the storm?
So for us, our first responders are they're relieved that it wasn't worse. We didn't have to do any rescues that I'm aware of. There was no loss of life. I have reached out to different mayors that have been hit more seriously. I don't really expect a call back from them for a while because I know they're busy. Having gone through this, and I know as much as you'd like to take phone calls and return phone calls quickly, you got a lot on your plate.
Yes, indeed. What are your top concerns right now? How long do you think this recovery operation will take?
Actually, not long at all, because, like I said, the damage was not as severe as it was in Ian. But one of my top concerns now is getting the power restored, especially to our downtown area. That plays such a vibrant role in our city. It's where the restaurants are. Not only that, but we're talking about these business owners at risk of losing tens of thousands of dollars of food. Wasting food just isn't a good thing to begin with. So anything we can do to get that power back on, we're doing. We're working close with FB&L to do so.
Absolutely. And in terms of the response right now, Governor DeSantis has said that, he's all hands on deck. Are you confident in the response thus far?
Oh, look, if the governor does half as well as he did during Ian, we're in good shape.
Fort Myers Mayor Kevin Anderson, really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
And breaking just now, the voter registration deadline will not be extended in Georgia and Florida following recent disruptions caused by Hurricane Helene. 2 federal judges have rejected requests to immediately reopen voter registration in the 2 states. The registration deadline in Georgia and Florida was this past Monday, but Florida and North Carolina are making it easier to vote due to the impact of the recent hurricanes. A new law in North Carolina allowing local election boards in storm-impacted areas to modify voting hours, combine precincts, and more. And in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is giving affected counties greater flexibility in distributing mail-in ballots and changing polling sites. More changes could be announced in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. And Ethel Kennedy has died today at the age of 96. She was the wife of late Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Her family said Kennedy had been hospitalized after suffering a stroke in her sleep on October 3rd. Her death was announced by her daughter, Carrie Kennedy, in a post on X. Ethel Kennedy founded a nonprofit center dedicated to advancing human rights through litigation, advocacy, education, and inspiration. Gives annual awards to journalists, authors, and others who have made significant contributions to human rights. The family statement said she leaves behind 9 children, 34 grandchildren, and 24 great-grandchildren. In proposing new economic policies, former President Trump vowing to save the U.S. auto industry and revive what he calls the once great city of Detroit. But Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign is criticizing Trump's record on creating auto jobs. NTD's Iris Tao has more.
Speaking to about 1,000 people in the Motor City, former President Trump on Thursday proposed a new set of tax incentives and trade protection policies that he said would bring auto jobs back to the U.S.
Today, I am announcing a detailed plan to save the American auto industry and bring millions and millions of jobs back to our shores. And you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs, but from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights.
Specifically, Trump announced a proposal to make interest on car loans fully deductible. That, he said, would stimulate domestic car production and make cars more affordable. He also vowed to give large tax breaks for car makers who build their factories and do research and development domestically. That's in addition to his previous proposals of lowering corporate tax rate to 15% for those who make their product in the U.S. and to use heavy tariffs to stop China from exporting its cars to the U.S.
They're going to pay a 100% or maybe even a 200% tariff because we're not going to let them come in to our country and destroy what's left of our auto industry.
But Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign took aim at Trump's trade policies in a press call before Trump's event. In the call, the president of the United Auto Workers said there was a loss of auto jobs in Michigan during Trump years, and that Trump would cost more jobs if he becomes the president.
When he was president, as I said, he was a job killer in chief because he is a champion of corporate greed. Plant closures are exactly what Trump is threatening with his plan to roll back tens of billions of dollars of investment in American manufacturing jobs.
And on Friday, Trump's holding rallies in Aurora, Colorado and Reno, Nevada. Reporting by Iris Howe, NTD News.
And former President Barack Obama starts his campaign sprint for Vice President Harris in Pennsylvania. This as news comes out that another superstar Democrat will be hitting the road for the presidential nominee. NTD News' Jason Blair reports.
Former President Barack Obama will be hitting key areas in battleground states in an effort to rally support for Vice President Harris in her presidential run. He's starting things off with an event at a college campus in Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Mail-in voting has already begun in the area. Pennsylvania swings the most weight among the 7 battleground states with 19 electoral votes. Poll averages are showing Harris and Trump virtually tied in the Keystone State. Both Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama endorsed Harris in July. At the Democratic National Convention, the former president said, "Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems, she'll be focused on yours." And what's better than having a former president campaigning for you? How about 2 former presidents? Former Commander-in-Chief Bill Clinton will be in Georgia campaigning for the vice president. According to a Clinton spokesperson, the former president will have events on Sunday and Monday, and reportedly more to come in other battleground states. Also on Thursday, the president of the United Auto Workers Union voiced his support for Harris on a video call with the media.
We know whose side she's on. She stands with workers. She has a vision that puts working class people first because she's one of us.
While Obama is in Pennsylvania, Harris is campaigning in Nevada and Arizona. She participated in a pre-taped town hall with Univision, which is set to air at 10 p.m. Central Thursday night. The vice president also has a rally at the Rawhide Event Center in Chandler, Arizona the same evening. Meanwhile, her opponent, former President Trump, spoke in Michigan, and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, participated in a town hall in North Carolina. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.